Got DRS assist on, but as you can see, got everything else off. We're on Shanghai Circuit with the Red Bull Formula 1 car. Let's see what we can do. We're gone with 5850 for our brake bias and differential. Bit wide there, bit of grass cutting, taking the Lando Norris sprint line. We'll adjust that next lap. Let's try braking at the 100-meter board here. Early turn in. A little later turn in looks like. Touch the curb on the right and send it in. A little bit of left here, touch of brake, get back to the right side, and touch this inside curb here. Start braking, it's there. Stay in the middle of the road here, come back down to the right, aim at the outside curb. We're going to brake at the 100-meter board here. We'll try 110 meters next lap. Slight adjustment. So we're a few seconds away from Max's time. There's definitely a lot of improvement. Let's see what we can do. Stay in the middle here, get back to the right, so you can get back to the left over here. Pedal to the throttle. Just before 100 meters. Roll through. Short shift for traction. Touch the curb on the right and send it in. Upshift, this is flat out. Stay in the middle of the road. Touch of brakes, back to the right curb over here, slow down and hit the inside curve here. Straighten the car out and get back on the power. So we're already up by 3 seconds somehow. Let's try 70 meters, touch the inside curb, let the car roll through, stay in the middle of the road, floor it. And like we said last lap, we'll try braking at 110 meters this time. Should be able to make it. Right there. Flick it in at the 50-meter board, touch the brakes. That runoff area is actually gravel, it's been updated. What is Max's pole lap? We just got a 1:33.7. Max's pole lap is a 1:33.6. Wow. So we're only a 10th away from Max's pole lap. And like I said, we're using no assist, we're using chase cam, and we're using a default setup. Actually, you know what? Let's go to the garage quickly just to confirm that. So I'm actually not even online on the EA server. This is custom setup because I adjusted the brake bias, but I'll go back to balanced here just so everyone can see. I'm clearly on balanced setup. And let's look at the assists one time. All the assists are off. The only assist that I have on is the DRS assist. So the DRS will automatically open when the DRS zone is available. The rest of the assists are off, and I'm using the manual gearbox. I'm also using a Logitech G29 steering wheel. So we've got no assists. We've got the default setup, And it looks like we're only a tenth away from Max's pole lap time already. Let's see what we can do. Touch the brake at the 50-meter board and send it in. Floor it once the car is straightened out. And this first turn, you don't touch the brakes. You want to get off the gas and send it in, and you want to touch the brakes once you've entered it. And try to stay in the middle of the road. Stay in the middle of the road for as long as possible, and then cut back to the right over here. So you can cut back to the left. And try to stay... You want to try to stay tight there, but if you compromise your entry, then you get washed out wide like that, which is what we saw a lot of drivers doing during the race. For defense, there's many different lines you can take through that first turn. There's only one line you can take if you want to go really fast, but there's multiple lines you can take during the race when you're trying to do your defense, and lap time doesn't necessarily matter. So we've lost quite a bit of time on this lap, and we're not really going to get that back. So we'll just get back to the end of the circuit and give it another shot. Over here, we brake around the 70 meters. It's not marked, but you just kind of have to guess. Aim it at the inside curb. This, you want to brake around the 110, 115 meters away. Right there. Get down to the gears. Just touch the brakes at 50, and let's send it in for another lap. Floor it. And once again, no brakes initially. You just want to lift off and send it in, and then you want to keep the car in the middle of the road. Washed a bit wide there, but let's see if we can cut back to the right side. And I'll send it left. You want to try to stay in the middle of the road here, ideally to the middle of the road or more left. If you wash out too wide there, you cover more distance and you waste some time. Taking the wide line is definitely fine in the race, but when you're trying to go fast, you definitely need to minimize how much of the track you're using. You want to maximize your track usage in terms of opening up a corner to send it in, but if you're taking wider lines during your qualifying laps, then you're actually covering more distance pointlessly and you're wasting your lap time. Try braking around 120 meters this time. See if we can make it closer to the apex. And once again, this lap is botched, but we'll give it another shot. Okay, I like the 120 meters instead of 110 for the braking. Once again, flick it in at 50. Straighten out the car, floor it. DRS open. So let's try to stay in the middle of the road again this time. You definitely have to let the car roll through some of these turns. It might not seem like the fastest thing to do when you're just not on the gas or the brakes and you're letting the F1 car roll. But sometimes it's just about getting the car set up to get back on the power. So that was a pointless short shift right there by me. I went up to fourth gear instead of staying in third, and we lost a couple of tenths because of that. So being in the right gear is definitely crucial as well when you're trying to go as fast as possible. Short shifting can help sometimes if you're trying to get on the power early and you need to minimize your wheel spin. But when it's time for your qualifying laps and you're trying to go as fast as possible, you definitely need to be in the correct gear for every turn. Being one gear too high or one gear too low, it will kill your momentum, or it will give you too much engine braking. There's definitely an ideal gear to be in for each turn. For qualifying laps, it's not as important in the race when there's stuff like management going on. But for your qualifying laps, definitely you have to make sure you're in the right gear. which is why I recommend everyone use manual gears if possible. It does take a lot of practice, but everyone can get there with some time. So this one, I already turned it a bit too early in this first sector, I can tell. We've dropped 3/10 there just because I turned in too early. We're only 4/10 down. It's not too bad. See if we can get anything back. Definitely need to stay a bit tighter over there. So we were a bit wide a couple turns back, and that made us completely wide for the following turns. So you really do have to thread the needle in some of these sections, and it just goes to show the amount of skill and muscle memory involved in this, and it's actually a great accomplishment for all the F1 drivers to be able to get onto the circuit after so long and have the races that they had this past weekend. It's some great driving by everyone. I don't know about Lance Stroll though, but the rest of the drivers are good. So now let's see if we can put a proper lap together. So we just carried a little bit too much speed into there. We had a better line, but I needed to just touch the brakes momentarily there, just so I would be able to make the next turn. We had a decent lap going until then, but this is how you learn. You have to practice, you have to make the mistakes, and then you have to readjust by each lap to see what it takes to be able to put the lap together. We're just looking for a 1/10 improvement over our lap time. Okay, let's give it one more shot. Got on the power just a little bit too early there. The grip is feeling good, so I touched just a little bit of throttle there, but I had to keep rolling through that turn. I got a little bit impatient there and I got on the gas. All I had to do in that last attempt to get through there cleanly was maybe just wait another quarter second, half a second there to get back on the throttle, and we would have been fine. But that's how you learn and adjust. About 2/10 down. See if we can find anything in this section. We dropped another 10th there. It was a bit cautious. We got in the power a little bit earlier than our last attempt and we started making up time, but we took a wider line there, and because we covered more track distance, we ended up losing time. 120 meters. Let's go again. That'll be track limits. That should have been track limits, but sometimes if you exceed track limits in this game and you actually lose time compared to what you would have had if you stayed on the track, the game somehow knows if you go off track and you still end up losing time, so it doesn't invalidate it sometimes. Our first lap is proving to be the best one so far, but it just takes some more practice and some patience. Because you don't get it the first or the second or the third try doesn't mean you have to give up. So we were up in that attempt, but just a little bit of a fishtail, a little bit of wiggle on the exit made us drop all the time. We're about 3/10 down, up to 4/10 now. Bit wide once more. So what we're going to do now is we've been using still the default setup, but we've been using the default brake bias and the default differential as well. So now let's put it down to our preferred setting. I like to use 58 for my brake bias, and I like to use 50 for my differential. You want to have your brake bias as front forward as possible, but it'll make you lock up really easily, so then you need to just move it back by a few notches. You definitely don't want to move it back too much, because then your rear tires start to get too hot because the rear brakes are working too much. So like I said, we're 1/10 away from Max's pole lap time. Let's see if we can do it. We've got our preferred brake bias and differential setting now. Let's see if we can get to Max's pole lap. We're looking for a 1:33.6. We're already a 10th up with our brake bias settings, brake and differential. Just a little bit wide there. That should have been track limits once again. car definitely does feel better once I change back to my own personal brake bias and differential settings. Now let's see if we can put it together. Once again, brake at the 120 meter board. That's in your head because there is no 120 meter board. You've got to make one up yourself. Now let's go for another attempt. Just a little bit of drifting there. Gained quite a bit of time with a little drift there. Let's see if we can keep the lap together. 120 meters once again. Let the car roll through. Oh, we've lost a bit of time there. And there we go. Using chase cam on default setup, we're able to get pretty close to Max's pole time. Obviously, this is just a game. There's no G-forces. The tire wear isn't as accurate, and we're allowed to use a bit more of the curbing. But still, just with some practice, making sure you learn from your mistakes, it's definitely possible to go quickly in this game and any other racing game. It just takes practice. You definitely can't be quick at the games right away, especially if you turn all the assists off. But once you're able to get used to how to handle the car, how to be with the brakes and the throttle, it's a very fun game to play. And now let's end the session. And when you end the session in this F1 game, if you look at the bottom of the screen, you can actually replay your fastest lap that you had from the entire session. So let's go and replay that lap now. Let's turn that off. So this ended up being, it doesn't say the correct lap time above, but this should be it. Look how much steering adjustments I'm having to make. You can see me playing with the steering wheel. You definitely have to be stabbing at the steering wheel the whole time to try to find the ideal contact patch of the tire. If you just turn into the corner and leave the steering wheel in one spot, you're going to lose the contact patch of the tire because your tire kind of rolls over on itself from the weight of the car. So you need to keep adjusting your steering mid-turn to make sure that your car stays flat on the ground and flat on its contact patch. And there was our drift. Let's just watch that one more time. Pay attention to the steering input. Just a little bit of drift, just a little bit of a save. We ended up gaining about 2 or 3 tenths from there. And there we go. So there you have it. Chase cam F1 with the default setup, and we're able to not only get close to, but we're able to go faster than the pole lap time. That's it for today. Join me again next time. We'll be doing this every race weekend with every pole lap, and once again we'll be using chase cam with no assist. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next race weekend.